What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. And guess what? Well, then again, I think you already know who it is. It is me, your guy, the Young Brother of Soul. First and foremost, I think you already know what the episode is going to be about today. And plus, there's going to be another part on this episode. But before I go on with this episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try to do another sponsoring. What I'm going to be sponsoring is my favorite beer. If you need a good cold one after a long day, drink this and you'll be satisfied. Heineken. So, on today's episode, what I'm going to be talking about is I'm going to be talking about the fact that LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers on July 24th, 2026. That'll be the day that everybody will not forget about. Now, on the last episode of the Young Brother of Soul podcast show, I kept mentioning, is it a possibility that LeBron James is coming to the city of Philadelphia? Well, it has happened. He has officially signed a 2-year contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, he did say his last stint is with the Sixers. So that means he has about 2 more years and he is done with the NBA. Now, as I was saying from the last episode, since LeBron James has signed with the Sixers, and of course we traded for Jaylen Brown, and we still got Maxey VJ Eshkum, who's about to be in his second year, and then we have the rookie out of Alabama. I did mention his name in the last episode, but I did forgot again this time. But is there a possibility that the Philadelphia 76ers will finally end their championship drought after over 40 years? Is there a possibility? Hopefully, I would love to see it, because everybody knows that if the Sixers win the championship, the city of Philadelphia, my hometown, definitely is going to be going crazy. And there definitely will be another parade on Broad Street, as I would love to see. Not only that this whole thing is, a wonderful thing, I guess, for a Sixers fan, because I always did say maybe it's time for LeBron to sit down, because, he's been in the league for so long, and, his son is in the league. But, I mean, now that he's with the Sixers, hopefully this will be a good veteran. He can help the young players, help them through. And hopefully we just get that championship. Hopefully. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying hopefully it will happen. Hopefully. But the crazy thing about it is, since he just signed with the 76ers, tickets have already been sold. Jerseys are being sold like crazy. I mean, like the last episode that I had, I definitely mentioned my cousin Jerome, and I'm definitely mentioning his name again, because my cousin Jerome definitely is a huge LeBron James fan, and he did say if he signed with the 76ers, he definitely will be going to more games. And now that he signed with the 76ers, I could see my cousin go to the games. I could definitely see him go to a lot of 76ers game now that LeBron James has definitely officially signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. And I mean, I would like to go to a couple games myself. Don't get me wrong, not just because of LeBron James. I'm just saying, just because I haven't been there, and I haven't been to a Sixers game in a minute. And not only that, at first, I kept saying to myself, I'm like, LeBron ain't coming here. And then when it officially happened, I was like, oh, okay. But, the last episode, like I said, I kept saying, is he coming here? Listen, Now that he's here, and I'm going to keep on saying it, maybe, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but until it happens, is this a possibility that an NBA championship is coming to the city of Philadelphia? Because we are definitely well due for an NBA championship in the city of Philadelphia. We definitely are. We definitely are, because, like I said, it's been since 1983. I wasn't even thought of because I was born in 1996. But, I don't know. We're just going to have to sit and wait and see what's going to happen. Just going to have to sit and wait and see what is really going to happen. Is the Philadelphia 76ers a NBA championship team since we signed LeBron and Jaylen Brown? We don't know. But hopefully it will happen. Hopefully. Like I said, we're just going to have to sit here and wait until basketball season starts. And not only that, like I said, I definitely can't wait till football season starts. Fly, Eagles, fly, because I'm tired of them keep disrespecting Jalen Hurts. And, just can't wait to see. Like I said, I'm an all Philadelphia sports fan. Eagles, Flyers, Philly, Sixers. Even the Philadelphia Soul, the Arena Football, the soccer team, Philadelphia Union. Anything that's Philadelphia, I am a fan of because I was born in the city of Philadelphia. Yeah. And what's crazy is now that LeBron is with the Sixers, are there going to be a lot of more Sixers fans all of a sudden? Are there going to be a lot of people saying that we're from Philly? No. Don't be on no bandwagon. Don't like bandwagons. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, when I first heard about it, I just kept saying at the time, at first I'm like, LeBron ain't coming here. LeBron is not coming here. Now that he's here now. So now that he's here, another thing what I want to talk about is this a possibility that he can definitely help Joel Embiid play better than what he has been playing? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, Joel Embiid is a good basketball player. He's not great, but he's good. When he's healthy, he's awesome. But he's very injury prone. So hopefully he can help Joel keep it together, with that veteran leadership, because we definitely need a good veteran leadership, especially trying to help your team win a championship. Definitely. And like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see. We just gonna have to wait and see till basketball season, and then of course we're gonna have to wait till the beginning, and then the middle, and then of course the All-Star, and then playoffs. We're just gonna have to wait, just to see what is gonna happen. A couple people and a couple other YouTubers predicted that the Sixers are going to win the championship next year. Well, like I said, we shall see. We're just going to have to sit and wait, and we just going to have to shall see. Like I said, I'm not even a big basketball guy, but now it's like I can't wait till basketball season starts now. I just want to see what's going to happen. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. No, let me stop. But I'm still sponsoring Heineken. You had a long day? You just want something good and cold? Drink you a good old Heineken. Nice and cold. Good sponsoring. But anyway, yeah, so hopefully the Phillies will do something this year. Well, we just gonna have to wait and see. Just gonna have to wait and see because baseball playoffs is almost right around the corner. So we're just gonna have to see what the Phillies are gonna do as of right now. But yeah, I can't wait till basketball season starts. This is like the first time I ever said such a thing. Can't wait till basketball season starts. Yeah. So another thing, what I want to talk about is on this episode of the Young Brother Soul podcast show, like I mentioned on the last episode, and I did say that I may or may not do an episode like this, but I think we're going to do it. Do anybody ever realize that there's always a rivalry between the city of Philadelphia, New York, Boston, LA? Those four cities, for some reason, always find a way to play against each other in sports championships. Yeah. Sports championships. I don't know what it is. It's like, there's always something between these four cities. Philadelphia, my hometown, New York City, New York. Of course, like I said, I got family in New York. Boston. My cousin Shamika, her man is from Boston, Dez. Yeah, I'm giving a shout out to Dez because he's from Boston. And Los Angeles. Then, of course, later on, there's always, then again, yeah, Chicago, but not so much. I mean, yeah, Chicago, they have major championships, but not like a rivalry between those four cities that I mentioned. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. My hometown, Philadelphia, New York, because I got family in New York, my cousins and them. My cousin's Chevy. Yeah, I'm giving them a good shout out on the Young Brother Soul podcast show. And Boston, like I said, my cousin Shamika, her man is from Boston. And then, of course, LA, Los Angeles. There's a lot of championships within those cities, of course. Of course, you have the Eagles, who have 3 NFL championships, 48, 49, and 1960. And, of course, 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl 52 and Super Bowl 59. Then, of course, you have the 76ers, who have 3 NBA championships. Well, 1955 they were the Syracuse Nationals until they relocated to Philadelphia. Then they have 2 championships, 1967 and 1983. The Flyers, of course, have 2 Stanley Cups, 1974 and 75. They won back-to-back. And, of course, well, the A's and the Warriors used to play in Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm going to give them a little shout-out, but I'm going to just leave it at that for now. The A's actually won 5 World Series and the Warriors won 2. Then, of course, you have New York. The Yankees, they have 27 World Series. Their first one was in 1923. Then you have the New York Knicks, who won 3 NBA championships, 1970, 1973, and 2026. Then you have the New York Giants, who have 4 NFL championships, 1927, 1934, 1938, and 1956. And, of course, they have 4 Super Bowls 21, 25, 42, 46. And then, of course, you have the New York Jets, who won the AFL championship in 1968. And, of course, they won Super Bowl 3. The New York Rangers, they have 4 Stanley Cups, 1928, 1933, 1940, and 1994. Then, of course, you have the New York Islanders. Yeah, New York have multiple teams: basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why. The New York Islanders won 4 straight Stanley Cups, 1980, 81, 82, and 83. But you know what's crazy? A lot of people did forget that the Dodgers and the baseball giants used to play in New York. Well, the Dodgers only won 1 World Series in 1955, and of course the Giants won quite a few World Series while in New York. But I think since the Yankees started winning, you might as well say the Yankees drove the Giants and the Dodgers out of town, while the Dodgers relocated to LA, and of course the Giants relocated to San Francisco. And then of course you have the New York Mets, who have 2 World Series, 1969 and 1986. Wow. Yeah, New York definitely has a lot of championships, and they are definitely one of the major cities that have all 4 major championships. And then of course you have Boston. We already know the Boston Red Sox have 9 World Series. They won the first ever World Series, 1903, 1912, 1915, 1916, 1918, 2004, 2007, 2013, 2018. And of course you have the Patriots, who won 6 Super Bowls, 36, 38, 39, 49, 51, 53. Then of course you have the Boston Celtics. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. 18 NBA championships. Their first one was in 1957, and of course they won it in 59. Then they won it all in the 60s, except 1967. That was a dynasty. Well, the second dynasty in NBA history. But they are still the only team in the NBA to win 8 straight championships, which has not been ever done again yet. It has not been broken. So that, like I said, is a heck of a dynasty, and it is the second dynasty in the NBA. Then of course they won in 1974, 76, 81, 84, 86, 08, and 24. Then of course you have the Boston Bruins, who have 6 Stanley Cups, 1924, 1939, 1941, 1970, 1972, and 2011. And then of course there is Los Angeles. Whew. Where do I start? Of course you have the Rams that won the 1951 NFL championship. They won Super Bowl 56. And then of course you have the Dodgers, who won quite a few World Series while in LA. Like I said, they only won 1 World Series when they were in Brooklyn. They finally beat the Yankees. But they also have World Series 1 in 1959, 1963, 1965, 1981, 1988, 2020, 2024, and 2025 while in LA. And then, of course, you have the LA Angels that only have 1 World Series back in 2002. And, of course, LA is another city, just like New York, that has multiple teams of football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. Why? Don't know. But, anyway, and then, of course, you have the LA Lakers, which they won 12 out of their 17 championships in LA. Of course, they won 5 in a different city because they were the first dynasty in the NBA. But while they were in LA, they won the NBA championships in 1972, 1980, 1982, 85, 87, 88, 2000, 2002, 2001, 2010, 2020. And not only that, the LA Lakers were the last team in the NBA to ever have a three-peat in the NBA championship. 2000, 2001, and 2002. They were the last. And then, of course, you have the LA Kings of hockey, which they won 2 Stanley Cups in 2012 and 2014. And then, of course, you have the Anaheim or LA Ducks. I have 1 Stanley Cup in 2007. Now, of course, we already know Anaheim is definitely an outside city of Los Angeles. Okay, so I'm going to just leave it at that. But like I said, there's always a rivalry between the city of, like I said, and I'm going to keep on saying it until a lot of people agree with me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. There's always between Philadelphia, New York, Boston, LA. I don't know what it is. And not only that, of course, you have the Phillies and the Mets, they're in the same division. That's definitely a heck of a rivalry between Philadelphia and New York. Then, of course, you have the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. They play in the same state. Well, different metropolitan, but they're from the same state, New York. They only met one time in the World Series, and that was in 2000. And of course, the Yankees defeated the Mets in that World Series. You know, it was a Subway Series. Of course, there was always a Subway Series between the Yankees, Dodgers, and the Giants when they were in New York. But since they left, there was only one Subway World Series. Like I said, 2000, which the Yankees defeated the Mets. Then, of course, there's always the historical World Series rivalry between the Yankees and the Dodgers. Now, the Yankees and the Dodgers, of course, met 12 times in the World Series, and of course, the Yankees lead by 8, and the Dodgers beat them 4 times: 1955, 1963, 1981, 2024. And then, of course, the other times that the Yankees defeated the Dodgers in the World Series, of course, it was 1941, 47, 49, 52, 53, 56, 77, and 78. So that definitely is a historical World Series rivalry between LA and New York. And then, of course, the all historical NBA Finals rivalry is between the Lakers and the Celtics. Now, of course, the first time they met was in 1959, but the Lakers were still in Minneapolis. They were still called the Minneapolis Lakers. So that rivalry continued. Of course, the Celtics lead the all-time series against the Lakers in the NBA championship. That is until 1985, when the Lakers finally defeated the Celtics in the NBA championship. Excuse me. Then, of course, they got them again in 1987. And in 2010, the Lakers finally defeated the Celtics in an NBA championship of Game 7. Any other time, the Celtics always defeated the Lakers in the NBA championship. Of course, it was 65, 66, 68, 69, 1984. Yeah. I believe they played again in 1962 and 1963, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that definitely, ladies and gentlemen, is an all-time historical NBA Finals rivalry. And then, of course, you have the Philadelphia 76ers and the LA Lakers, who met 6 times in the NBA championship. Of course, when they were the Minneapolis Lakers and the Syracuse Nationals, they defeated them in 1950 and 1954, and then the Lakers defeated the Sixers again in 1980, 1982. That is until 1983, where the Sixers finally got their revenge. And then, of course, the Lakers defeated the Sixers in the 2001 NBA championship. Like I said, there's always a rivalry between LA and Boston, but LA and Philadelphia, that definitely is a historical World Series, NBA Finals rivalry. And then, of course, you have the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers are definitely a rivalry because they're in the same division. And not only that, they met quite a few times in the playoffs, of course, where we already know the Celtics lead the all-time series because in the 60s, like I mentioned before, they were dominating in the 60s. That is until 1967, when the Sixers finally defeated the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals to advance to the NBA Finals, which the Sixers won the NBA Finals of 1967. It definitely was a great battle between Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, two of the greatest centers that played during that time. Now, do I think that they are going to meet quite a few times in the playoffs? Yeah, I would hope so. We definitely did, because we got our revenge this past playoff year, but I want to see us defeat Boston so many times. Yeah, Des, I hope you're watching this. But and there's definitely a rivalry between the Lakers and the Knicks. They met 3 times in the NBA championship, 1970 and 1972 and 1973, which the Knicks won 2 times. And of course, the Lakers won their first ever championship while in the city of LA. They finally beat the Knicks because they couldn't beat the Celtics. And then, of course, they couldn't beat the Knicks one time, but then they got them and then they lost to them again. And then, of course, there's a rivalry between the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Rangers. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers and the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders and the Boston Bruins. Then, of course, you have the LA Kings and the LA Ducks, Anaheim Ducks, because they're in the same division. And not only that, the LA Kings defeated the New York Rangers in the 2014 Stanley Cup Finals. LA, New York. Whew, man. And then, of course, my hometown Philadelphia Phillies lost to the New York Yankees twice in the World Series, 1950 and in 2009. To this day, I always kept saying I would love to get back at the Yankees from the 2009 World Series loss. Yeah, I would love to get back to them. And then, of course, the Phillies lost the World Series to the Boston Red Sox in the 1915 World Series. Of course, Babe Ruth was on that team. Yeah, Babe Ruth. Boy, what was the Red Sox thinking about trading him to the New York Yankees? Because I believe if the Yankees would have never traded or if the Red Sox would have never traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees, I don't think the Yankees would have had all the World Series. But then again, you never know. But I don't think so. But then again, yeah. But anyway, that definitely is a rivalry. Yankees, Red Sox, same division. Not only that, ever since that Babe Ruth trade, Red Sox wasn't the same. It took them 86 years to win another World Series. But the Yankees, of course, is the most successful team in the MLB. They met quite a few times. 2003 ALCS. Then you have the 2004 ALCS, where the Yankees had a 3-0 lead series against the Red Sox, and then the Red Sox forced a Game 7 and won the game. And won Game 7, they were going to win the World Series of 2004, breaking their streak. Yeah. Yeah. Boston, LA, Patriots, Rams. They met in Super Bowl 53. Patriots won. That was a boring Super Bowl, by the way, but that was Tom Brady's 6th ring. Yeah. Yeah. Then, of course, you have the Philadelphia Flyers and the Boston Bruins, who met in the 1975 Stanley Cup. Yeah, that was kind of rare because they are actually in the same division and on the same conference. But, during that time in the NHL, of course, baseball, hockey, football, basketball, they didn't have as many teams like they have now. But, yeah, the Philadelphia Flyers defeated the Boston Bruins in the 1975 Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, they actually did. Then, of course, the Eagles defeated the LA Rams in the 1949 NFL Championship. Yeah. 14-0. Yeah. Yeah. Can't forget about the Patriots. Excuse me. The Patriots and the Giants, who met twice in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46. What happened? Tom Brady in Super Bowl 42, the Patriots, they had a perfect record. They were 18-0. They were trying to get the 19-0. And what happened? The Giants shockingly defeated the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I was actually happy when that happened, too. I was actually happy. Spygate. But anyway, then again, they met in Super Bowl 46. What happened? In those 2 Super Bowls that Eli Manning faced against Tom Brady, there was always some amazing catches. Super Bowl 42, the helmet catch. Super Bowl 46, it's like he just threw the ball to Mario Manningham, and it just like he dropped it in his hand. Yeah, that was amazing. And then, of course, you had the Eagles and the Patriots, who met twice in the Super Bowl. Of course, Super Bowl 39, the Patriots defeated the Eagles 24-21. And then, of course, the Eagles got their lick back in Super Bowl 52. They defeated the Patriots 41-33. Yeah. 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 There's definitely a rivalry between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. They met quite a few times in the playoffs. They're in the same division. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And not only that, the Knicks and the Celtics are what, two of the oldest NBA franchises in the NBA. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a great rivalry. Then, of course, you have, well, you have teams like the LA Chargers, the LA Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets. Well, the Nets actually have two ABA championships, of course, 1974 and 1976, but that was the ABA. But let me ask y'all this, ladies and gentlemen. Do y'all include the ABA history as much as like how they don't include NFL or AFL championships of the NFL? Because they are so quick to say Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, especially you Dallas Cowgirls fans. Y'all, whew, man. Y'all get on my nerves. Yeah, y'all do. Y'all get on my nerves. But anyway, yeah, there's definitely a rivalry between these four cities. And, of course, there's a rivalry between the Eagles and the Giants. That rivalry goes way back. They met quite a few times in the playoffs. The Giants have 4 Super Bowls. Eagles have 2. Eagles have 3 NFL championships. Giants have 4. And then, of course, there's the rivalry between the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders for the battle of the state of New York. The New York Mets and the New York Yankees. The Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. Well, the Nets, we're just going to leave them out of for now. And then, of course, you have the Jets and the Giants. They never met in the Super Bowl. Well, then again, I don't think I'm going to go there for now, but poor Jets fans. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. 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 There's always a great rivalry between Dr. J and Larry Bird, and then of course you have Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. So those are definitely some great rivalries. Magic Johnson and Dr. J. You know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Larry Bird. Robert Parrish. You know? It's always a rivalry between these 4 cities. Yankees, Mets, Rangers, Islanders, Jets, Giants. You might as well say the Knicks, the Nets. The Rams and Chargers. The Kings and Ducks. The Lakers and the Clippers. The Dodgers and the Angels. It's like LA and New York just have to have multiple teams. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I really don't know what it is. But other than that, yeah. Philadelphia, New York, Boston, LA. If y'all feel as though that there are other cities that are always in a rivalry, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. of course, we still got the cities of Chicago, Miami, Detroit, Dallas, Baltimore, Washington, Seattle, but we're just going to leave it at that. But like I said, there's always a rivalry between those four. Are there going to be any more times that these teams or cities ever meet in sports championships? Oh, I definitely could see it happening. Don't know when, but I definitely could see it happening for some reason, especially the way how teams are gathered today. I definitely could see it happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want to talk to y'all about on this episode of the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. Now, before we end this episode, I'm going to need everybody to do me a favor. I'm going to need everybody to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, hit that notification button, and make sure y'all tune in for some more episodes of the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. But anyway, like I said, LeBron is here in Philly. Can't wait to see what basketball season is going to be like. I think I'm going to start watching more games now. And then, of course, like I said, there's always a rivalry between Philadelphia, New York, Boston, and Los Angeles. For some reason, there's always a rivalry. There's always a rivalry. No, let me stop playing. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is the end of this episode. Like I said before, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, hit that notification button, and make sure y'all tune in for some new episodes of the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. Thank you so much for watching, and I definitely cannot wait to have more guests on the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. Thank you, good night, and be safe out there.